everybody, hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki and today we have a Midtown Comics haul. And in addition to that, we also have a free comic book day haul. I know, right? There's a free comic book day. So this is a semi-regular series that I do on the channel. I've really gotten into comic books more recently in my life. So if you guys are not familiar with me or my channel, we're very, very DC heavy here. If you guys don't like DC, get out of here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. The first comic that we have is The Silencer issue number 3. This is part of the DC New Age of Heroes. I've talked about this series on my channel previously. I will link some of those videos in the cards above. This was one of those series that is born from the DC Dark Knight's Metal series, which you guys know I read and absolutely loved. And one of the most amazing things that came out of that is this DC New Age of Heroes. So like every couple of months, there are about 7 or 8 different comic series, which are all new with all new heroes. And they were born from or because of the events that happened in the DC Dark Knight's Metal series. And this was one of them. I have read issues number 1 and 2, and this is one of my favorite ones that I've read so far. And this is probably going to be one of the series from the New Age of Heroes that I continue on with because I'm really, really enjoying it so far. So we have issue number 3 here. The next comic book I have is The Silencer, issue number 4. So I am a little bit behind. I was doing some traveling. I was not able to catch up while I was away, so I did place an order, and now I have issues 3 and 4, and it looks like we have The Silencer here, along with, ooh, Deathstroke. The next comic book that I have is Batman and the Signal. This is issue number 3. This is another one that I have opened up on the channel before and talked about. And again, this is like a short mini series. I think it's either 3 or 4 issues. I think it's 3. This is also directly tied to the DC Dark Knight's Metal series. And this is another one that I have really enjoyed. So I think this is the final issue. Yeah, 3 issue mini series. So this is the final one. The next comic book that I have is The Terrifics. This is issue number 1. This is, again, another one of those New Age of Heroes. My plan is to read at least all of the first, if not the first 2 issues of all of these series, kind of pick and choose which ones I'm more into and which ones I want to continue on with. And this was one I was super excited about. It looks like we have a version of Plastic Man here on the cover. I'm so excited. I am a couple of issues, like 3 or 4 issues, I think 3, behind on this one. I got a late start, but I'm super excited to see what we think of this one and to give it a go. Next up, we have another one. This is the Immortal Men issue number 1, another one of the DC New Age of Heroes. And this one looks very primal almost. I'm kind of excited to see this. I think I read a little excerpt in the back of one of the other issues. It might have been Curse of Brimstone. They always give a preview of the next series coming up. So I think this was one of them, and it looked really fascinating. So we have the first issue again. We're going to go ahead and give it a try and see what we think. All right, and now we have Batman issue number 44, and this is a variant cover, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Something borrowed, something blue. And this is the one where he and Catwoman, spoiler alert, get married, we think. I am not the biggest fan of Selina Kyle or the Batman-Catwoman relationship. I'm more of a Batman Talia al Ghul fan. I totally ship them, but you know. And then the last comic that we have is actually from Vertigo Comics. This is Deathbed issue number 1. I've got to be honest. I think I read a brief synopsis, but the cover and just the title really drew me in, and I really like to try a lot of new things and sort of discover new franchises that I can love, and so this was one I wanted to give a try. I really like Vertigo Comics, so I think this has a lot of potential. If you guys want to see some mini reviews, let me know, or thumbs up this video, and I can report back on what we think. And that was everything in the Midtown Comics haul. Like I said, very DC heavy, really getting into that DC new age of superheroes. And I'm enjoying some of the franchises a little more than other ones. There are going to be some that I stick with hardcore throughout. You guys saw Silencer was one of them. But another thing that I read and that I really enjoyed, I actually picked up on Free Comic Book Day. And yes, if you didn't know, there is a Free Comic Book Day. It was on Saturday, May 5th, aka Cinco de Mayo. So comics, tacos, my favorite holiday, mashed into one. It was a good day. I purchased 2 comics and then picked up several of the ones that they were offering for free. So I definitely recommend checking out your local comic book shop and, you know, tagging the date for maybe next year. It's usually early May that they do this, and checking out any events so you can pick up some free comics and see what they have to offer. So the first comic that I purchased was Curse of the Brimstone #2. Again, one of the DC New Age of Heroes. I read the first issue, and this was one that I was particularly excited about just because I like the name and the synopsis that I had read about it. But I've got to be honest, the first issue didn't really draw me in, and I think that's because a lot of it was backstory and a lot of info dumping, and there wasn't a ton of action. You didn't really see anything fiery until like the very end of the comic. So I want to give this one a fair shot, and I've been doing that with a few of them. If I'm not hooked by the first comic, I'll usually pick up the second and check it out. So that's what I'm doing with this one. I want to continue on and see if this is one that I want to read more of. So we have that. The second comic that I purchased on Free Comic Book Day was Harley Quinn, Harley Loves Joker. This is a 2-part mini-series. I am a huge Harley Quinn fan, especially Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti's rendition of Harley Quinn. But sometimes they do little mini-series and I will pick them up. So we have this one here. And now we're getting into the free comics. Like I said, I'm fairly DC heavy, so the majority of the comics that I picked up were DC, but they did offer a variety of indie comics and Marvel comics and kid-friendly comics, which I think is so cool. The first comic that I picked up is DC Nation #0. It's 3 all-new stories. The Summer of Events starts now. It's got Joker, it's got Batman, it's got Catwoman, and it looks like he's not too happy that they are together. So I'm excited. We've got some Justice League on here. It looks like some Martian Manhunter. Again, it's like 3 probably mini stories in here, so I'm sure some will be stronger than others, but I'm excited to check this out. And the next comic was actually part of the Halloween Comic Fest. It's the DC Universe Rebirth Batman Special Edition Night of the Monster Men. The last 2 comics that I have are not DC related, but ones that I'm really excited about. The first one was also a Halloween Comic Fest. This is Lady Mechanika 2017 La Dama de la Muerte. And this is a comic from Joe Benitez. It's part 1 of 3. Do you see this gorgeousness here? It's very like Dia de los Muertos, obviously. And this particular comic is Los Inocentes. The artwork really took me in, and I love the whole Dia de los Muertos thing. So we've got those vibes going on here. So I'm excited to check it out, and I want to expand my repertoire and include more indie comics. So I'm excited to check this out, and if I like it, I will have to pick up the other 2 issues. And the last issue is a Dynamite Comics issue. This is Bob's Burgers. I am a huge Bob's Burgers fan. I love the show. I collect the Funko Pops, and I actually have a couple issues of the comic book. It doesn't translate as well on page as it does to the show, but you know, it's Bob's Burgers. I'm not gonna pass it up. So yeah, that was everything from my Free Comic Book Day Midtown Comics haul. I want to know, did you guys attend any of your local Free Comic Book Day events? What did you pick up? And let me know if you guys have read any of these comics down in the comments below. And as always, if you guys like these types of videos or you want to see more of them, then make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!